Hello, in this Kotlin programming video, we're going to look a bit more into exception handling and more specifically, multiple catch blocks. So we've got a single sort of catch block right here, but you might want to account for different errors. So imagine if I create an array. So var, I'll just call it arr equals int array, and we put it as a size of 10. And remember, computers start at 0, so the first index in the array is 0, last index is 9, so the size minus 1, which gives you 9. So if in here, instead of doing it as a result, we want to assign it to array, and in a particular area index, let's say we want to assign it to the last one, 9, and we want to print that result out. Actually, we don't want to print it out. That is fine. The printing out isn't important. Actually, you know what? I'll print it out, and I'll print it out here. So So what we actually want to do is just essentially print it out here, and we're just going to loop over the array. So we've already done this before. So we say value in array, and we got a separate video covering this, so feel free to check that out. I'm going to print out each value. Okay, simple stuff. Now what we're going to do is essentially force some errors to occur. So if I was to run this, at the moment no errors will occur. It will say we get 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, then we get 5 because 100 divided by 20 is 5. But what if we accidentally do this? This is out of bounds now. This is an out of bound error, because even though we have a size of 10, 10 represents the 11th index because computers start at 0. So if we were to run this now, we get an error. The arithmetic exception cannot handle this error, it can only handle this one. It says exception in thread, array index out of bounds exception. Luckily enough, there's an exception for that as well. So we just have to put another catch, and we'll call it error, and it is array index out of bounds exception. And if I print line error, we'll essentially get that error now, and the array will not be modified. As you can see, the array is not modified, and it just says index 10 out of bounds for length 10. Okay, so you might be thinking, oh, there could potentially be hundreds of errors, and you're right, there could be loads of exceptions, and we don't expect you to try and handle all of them. That's the reason you can just do a blanket sort of general exception, and this is just except called exception like so, and I'm going to print two things here. I'm going to say general error, and then I'm going to actually print out the problem. So instead of having this here, I'm going to comment this out, and you'll see that even though we're not handling for this specifically, this will essentially pick up any just exception that we haven't specifically accounted for. As you can see, the general error, and it gives us the error as well. And you might be thinking, okay, would we not just have one of these general one of these catch blocks instead of having all these? The reason you wouldn't is if you want to do something specific depending on the error. Depending on this error, you might want to say no division by 0. Maybe depending on this error, if you are trying to insert items into a list, you might want to say something like you are going too far into the list. So you are making the error, the sort of message, the sort of response specific to the exception. but it's always good to have this final catch block for anything that you may potentially miss or you may not realize that could cause an exception. So it's always good to have it. So that's it. Pretty simple stuff. But if you have any questions, feel free to pop me a message. And as usual, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.